Let me just get Nick's little sheet open here.
Not sure she's ready or not. Okay. All right, it's 7:36 on November 17th, 2022. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Clawson Zoning Board of Appeals. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Joan, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Hildebrandt,
Here.
Ms. Perkins,
Here.
Mr. Sinaki is not here.
Yes, he's
Miss Cindy Smith,
here.
Miss Diane Smith.
Here. Thank you. So in your packet, there was the minutes from our last regular meeting, which was June 16th of 2022. And I'll entertain a motion regarding those minutes.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on June 16th, 2022 as provided.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. Joan, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Ms. Perkins,
Yes.
Miss Cindy Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith,
Yes,
Mr. Hildebrandt.
Yes.
thank you. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing on the request for variance from section 5.1B1A, prohibiting parking areas in front of a residence. Is there somebody here to speak to that?
Yes.
Okay, if you could just approach the mic and say your name and address.
David Parada, 971 East 14 Mile Road, Clawson, Michigan, 48017.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So my request is regarding changing the direction of my current horseshoe driveway, which is currently on the street side of the sidewalk. There have been, over the last couple of years, there's started to be enforcement requesting that we don't park there. And it's actually been in place, that parking's been there since the 60s, according to a lot of overhead and everything like that. So in order to compromise, I said, well, you know what? I need a new driveway. I'd like to change the approach. And so instead of doing it on that side of the sidewalk, I'll go along the homeowner side of the sidewalk. Currently, there's a couple of those on the Royal Oak side of the street. There's one directly across from me because we have the widest lots. Like right at that point, myself and that other party has the wider lot, and we have a cutout on the property on both sides. Backing out into the street's pretty dangerous. So 14 Mile is a dangerous one to go into, and I'm noticing now that they're actually putting them all along 13 Mile as well in Royal Oak, all the horseshoes. So that's the request, is to allow for that parking area on that side of the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a slight diagram that was turned in as well, so I'm sure everyone had an opportunity to look at that as well.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
To make sure that we're clear, I'm looking at both, I guess I would call them sketch drawings of what's currently there and what is going to be there.
Yes.
Right now, currently, am I understanding it correctly, the one that goes actually up into the grass is what's there currently, up into your actual yard? And then the new one is to be shortened and smaller? Is that, am I right, or is it the other way around?
Can I approach up, and I have the drawing here?
Absolutely.
It's
Sure.
a little bit better. So currently, this is on that side of the sidewalk.
Okay,
Okay,
so that's the current one then.
And so then the change is going to be up through the front
Okay, I had it backwards. I had it backwards. Thank you for clarifying that.
Does the existing driveway right now from the circle median, well, the circle driveway's in the median, and then you have a driveway going all the way back to what appears to be your garage, correct?
Correct, it's a detached garage.
So then your new
Detached.
one is proposing the same strip of cement, but you're just increasing your horseshoe up into your,
Yeah, and I would just abandon the existing horseshoe on the street side. One of the other issues is because of the nature of me having that driveway, it becomes a turnaround whenever there's not a vehicle parked there. And so everybody feels like it's their right of way to always use it from the main road, which then could also put some bicyclists in peril since they come through at about 35 miles an hour when they decide to do their turnaround. But, yeah, the main approach all the way up would be continue all the way to the back garage, because we have a detached garage. You might see something that looks like it's attached to the side of the house, that's just a trailer from the aerial view.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So we just, I believe, talked about in planning impervious surfaces and how we want to eliminate them or get rid of them as much as possible. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is going to take your impervious surfaces over what our ordinance states. Is that not correct, Joan? I believe so.
Yeah, you have to refer to Joe's
Okay.
letter.
So I just have one question and hope for that once you do get rid of that smaller space in the front, if that could be replanted at the very least, if we're going to create this longer piece
Right.
that goes up.
Yeah, well, it would be an eyesore as well to leave it,
Yeah.
because we're going with cement.
Right now you have
hopefully.
blacktop. I went by your place and looked, so.
Yeah, I hope you didn't try to pull into the driveway, because it's a ride.
I did not. I did not. Is that whole driveway, is it done all on blacktop all the way to
Yes.
the back now? So you're not increasing the length of the driveway, the straight part at all in any way, correct?
No, it goes right up to the garage.
Okay.
Straight up to the garage, and we're
Okay.
just gonna switch it over to concrete, because asphalt has gone up significantly in price. Unfortunately, I don't know what that's gonna look like in the spring, which was also something that I wanted to ask for a length of time in addition to what is normally given for a variance, because I think a variance is 6 months from the day it's granted. And is that how the variance usually is? And being the nature of getting people to do construction, right now, we're gonna have 3 months of no possible work. And so then I'd have to find somebody in those 3 months, which is kind of a difficult thing. So I was wondering if I could get a couple extra months added on to go in line with what we were, because originally we were gonna have this about a month ago, was the original plan. And we probably would have had work already implemented. So that was just another thing that I was looking to do. The plan, I would like to rip that up and plant it. Now, I don't know how that would actually count against, because that property isn't considered my property, right? So on the 55%, I don't know if that would apply.
Even if it doesn't, I was just hoping that you might do that just for the sake of the environment. And like you said, I mean, you're not gonna want to leave that asphalt there, I'm assuming as well, so.
I wouldn't want to leave it. Now, we do have planted grass right in that horseshoe. So I don't have the rock buildup or anything like that, because there was one down the way. And then it pools when because that area, I don't know if the city's, well, it's the county sewer line under there. It's the old sewer lines. And I think there's probably sinkholes under there, because everybody seems to have a collapse in the street at different times, and then the driveways start to collapse too. So, yeah, I would like to have a little bit more draining there. Yeah. Our backyards are pretty significant. I don't think you noticed that on this picture, but on the report, they included the backyard. And the backyards, ours are double length lots, about 70 yards from sidewalk to back. Now, the goal on the impervious, we want to do 10 feet wide because of the nature of trying to get a vehicle to turn. I don't really know how that could have been calculated yet, but we got to work out probably the logistics on the horseshoe, because originally I was going to have it attach near the sidewalk. And if we do it that way instead of a little kick out, it might actually decrease the impervious amount.
I think in Joe's letter to us, he makes mention of the fact that we would perhaps want to ask for an exact detailed square footage so that it doesn't go past that. That's just one thing I'm really trying to be conscious of this new thing that we're trying to implement.
This began last March, correct?
The impervious surface discussion,
Yeah,
I believe
for
so.
the front properties. It was already at the 60% in the back. Right, yeah. Now, are pavers considered, are they considered impervious, or are those
I
drain?
believe so. I mean, it depends on what you filled in between, but
Right, with
you
paver
can-
sand, it would actually breathe better.
yeah.
But that's.
I'm not an expert, though. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that, just,
that's a significant expense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about sinkholes there, probably not the best option because they would rise and fall as the weather changed.
Yeah, I went to school at Kalamazoo College, and they had a paver street, so it collapsed every year. You got a nice, I don't know if you've ever been to Kalamazoo, it's all hills. So, okay.
You had stated that your thought process was to make it 10 feet wide for the new one going in, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know what the width of it is currently?
I think it's actually wider because it goes from the sidewalk into the turn there. But logistics-wise, we have a tree. And so we want to line it up with the current exit and make it so that it's not a dramatic turn. Because on a dramatic turn, you wouldn't be able to get a car to turn it the right way.
Yep.
And since it's going near the front porch, then it would, it's got to stay in its loop. And so that was how we measured it. I did have a gentleman come out and do all the measurements prior to asking for the variance.
Have you had any concerns from your neighbors with regards to your plans?
No. Now, there's one lady who, I think she got in trouble for parking on her grass or on one of those asphalt overflows, because that's why there's a lot of patches there. But this one was actually, all of these pads were replaced by the city in 2007 when they did the water and the sewer. Well, they didn't do the sewer, they did the water and the sidewalks. And they're the city of Clawson is who redid them all and put them all back in place. But no, it's mainly this, there's somebody several houses down who I think her neighbor blocks all the view. And so she likes to call on anybody now that parks there. That's why I said, well, you know what? I'm going to continue to park there unless I figure out a solution here that makes everybody happy. So that's why I was doing the variance.
It's very neighborly. Thank
Thank you.
And you're the homeowner, right? You live there?
Yes.
It's your primary residence?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've lived there since '05 and owned since the end of '06.
Okay. Is there,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance as requested, listing the criteria of the findings as listed in the letter provided from the planner. The practical difficulties are exceptional and peculiar to the property of the person requesting the variance, and it results from the conditions which do not exist generally throughout the city. Number 2, the practical difficulties which will result from a failure to grant the variance include substantially more than mere inconvenience or an inability to attain a higher financial return. Number 3, allowing the non-use dimensional variance will result in a substantial justice being done, considering the public benefits intended to be secured by this article, the individual hardships that will be suffered by the individual hardships that will be suffered by a failure of the board to grant a variance, and the rights of others whose property would be affected by the allowance of the variance. Number 4, the variance did not arise from the actions of the applicant or previous landowner. And number 5, the variance requested is not solely based on a financial need circumstance. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add in reference to dimensions?
I would like to add that stipulation that any approval would be subject to a detailed plan with the precise square footage of his proposed horseshoe, new horseshoe.
Who's approving the plan? Planning Commission?
Planning Commission.
Do you want it to say, also say that it conforms to the standard of the impervious surface of 50%?
Yeah, if you, would you like me to just take it from the letter? Stipulation of approval should be that any impervious surface added to the front yard be depicted on a detailed plan with precise square footages in order to confirm that this standard will be met. So it would not have to go to planning, it just would need a detailed plan. So I amend my amendment.
I would agree with that, yes.
If you're amenable.
I am.
I do think it's important we talk about landscaping, and I like your point, Jennifer, that to ensure that once you tear out the old horseshoe that's in the right-of-way, is to replant that right-of-way.
I'm gonna have some great topsoil that I can take from the other side and just put right there. So we'll rip it up.
Okay.
We'll just run right through it with the Bobcat.
Okay, okay,
Makes sense.
okay.
Now I don't have to transport all the dirt somewhere.
There you go.
We're just trying to avoid your front yard from looking like a parking lot.
It would be wonderful, though.
Is that a stipulation, Diane?
I would like it to be, yeah.
So we can add that as number 7?
Do we want to address the discussion of time frame that was mentioned? As far as, you know, hit the homeowner's concern with getting it done within a time frame that's allowable with the variance? Do we want to put a stipulation in and add an additional amount of time to that?
So that's a good point. I'd like to defer that back to Joan. I don't recall us ever doing that before, where we've
I don't
granted a longer time, but I'm
Either,
not.
but I would just say, since it's a seasonal cement issue, we could put the condition in there and then leave it up to the building department.
I would at the very least hope that you would explore options in contractors in the 3 months that you can't,
Oh, yeah, I already have
Do
people
some
lined
work.
up. It's a
Okay.
matter of people.
and get on their calendar at some
Yeah.
point.
I was only able to pull one quote after contacting probably 15 to 20 different companies. And one of the ones said, yeah, he can talk about it in the spring. But he's already pretty booked up, and he lives behind me. So it's a manpower issue right now. The trades are pretty decimated. So
If we look at it from the standpoint of 3 months of not being able to do any work, does,
The standard 6 months, move it to a 9-month period.
exactly, do we want to add that 3 months onto the end of it to give them the full 6 month of working time? Does that seem amicable?
yeah, that would be fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get it done as soon as possible.
Okay. Then I would
That seems
like to
fair.
add that, I guess, as number 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. We may want to comment that there were no objections from the neighbors.
Yes, that's important.
Any other amendments you could like to add?
I guess I would, I guess for the public record, I'd like to comment that, there's this, he's not the only one with this situation in this area of the city. So it's not, it's not unusual.
Yeah.
And I do think what he's trying to do is going to make it better.
I agree.
Getting
Agree.
out of
And
the right
safer.
way and safer.
I mean, the two people directly across the street from him have the exact same thing, directly across the street. Now, I know they're Royal Oak, but it's not going to look weird that he's the only one with the horseshoe.
Yeah. Now, Joan, I have an administrative question to ask you. Am I supposed to open up a public hearing before we vote? I mean, there's nobody here, obviously, but.
Right, yeah, you can open and close it.
Okay.
I think we need a second first, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, I'll second.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to hold the vote so I can open up a public hearing. So it's 7:57, and I'll open up the public hearing. And seeing no one here to comment from the public, I will go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:57. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments on the motion on the table? Okay. Joan, can you call the roll?
Yes.
Or the vote, please?
Ms. Perkins,
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you,
with
Mr.
your new
Prada.
driveway.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the election of officers. I think this is an error because we had the election last February, I believe.
Yep, I think so.
And I don't think we're due until after the first of the year.
Okay.
Okay. Public discussions item not on the agenda. There's nobody here for the public unless.
Your time, I can come up with something.
Okay, all right.
You can't rescind your vote.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is other business. I guess I would just like to say that we are down. Mr. Sanaki gave me his resignation. So his term was up and he's decided not to renew. I think sounds like he might be retiring or his wife's retiring and looking to make a change. So
Nice.
I want to thank Mr. Sanaki for his years of service. It was a pleasure working with him.
Absolutely.
And that being said, we are down a member and we don't have any alternates.
Alternates, yeah.
Correct. I know that Nick Stepness is trying to get
Okay,
more people. We're very aware that you're short.
okay. All right,
Which we noticed acutely when we were not able to get.
a quorum.
A quorum for,
Yeah.
yeah.
For that special meeting, yeah. So anyway, if there's anybody watching and they want to, they want to volunteer for the Zoning Board of Appeals, please send your application in. And if, the board has any friends or associates that might be interested, please
Should we
send-
entice them by saying we don't meet that often?
Well, that is an enticement.
We don't meet that often.
You can help your community and it's not a big time commitment.
Right. It's a very important board.
It is a very important board.
And it's very interesting. I mean, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Lots of different things we see. So, Joan, you expect a meeting in December?
No, I don't think at this time, we don't have anything for December's meeting.
Okay.
I have a question. What is happening to the chicken building? Like, what's going in there?
It's a restaurant, going to be breakfast and lunch, and it's called Biscuits and Gravy.
Okay.
And it looks fantastic.
Yes. As the building is coming on, we were talking about at the DDA meeting, that it looks marvelous, improving with the chicken sitting on top
I
of
know,
it.
I know.
Almost like the chicken's giving birth to a new building.
And it's white now, so it's like an egg. But that new glass front it really
great.
opens it up
Yeah.
from this dark little hole. It's fantastic, it's really,
It's like they built the building around the chicken.
as it should be.
Yes.
We made it the historical landmark, remember?
Yeah, right, right.
I have a question, actually, that I know it's probably too late, and I just noticed this, actually, but on the meeting minutes that we approved, I'm wondering if we should make a change, because in the first line, it says, Chair D. Smith called the regular meeting of the Planning Commission
Oh,
to order. We are not the Planning Commission.
Nice catch.
Yes,
That is
good
a good
catch.
I'm
I
thinking
apologize.
we should make a motion to change the minutes to reflect the correct board. I don't know if it's too
concur.
late to do that or not, with them already being accepted. Do you
I think we
happen to
can-
know,
I
Joan?
think we can fix
We
the
can
typo.
reopen it and close it again. Thank
Okay.
you.
Does
It's
it-
probably a cut and paste issue, so.
yeah. Does it need a formal motion?
I don't believe so, but it wouldn't hurt
Hurt.
anything, just in case.
Okay.
But I think we could consider it a typo and fix it, but
Okay,
again, we are changing something that was,
was approved.
It was approved,
Okay.
yes.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thanks for catching that, Craig. So we have a motion to go back and amend the minutes to properly reflect the zoning board of appeals meeting was called to order instead of the plan commission.
I'll
Do I have a
second.
second? Cindy seconded.
okay.
Joan, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Cindy Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Hillebrand,
Yes.
and Ms. Perkins.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. All right, is there any other business before us?
No. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
One second. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All right,
Happy
thanks.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Yes.
Thanks,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving. Is anything going to happen with Pumachug? I know they closed
I just
down.
heard
Something
that.
Somebody else is going in. Somebody said just wait or something like that on a post.
Oh, well, it's a beautiful building on the,
I'm like, why is nobody in there at 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just, yeah, they just did it on Monday. They made the decision. I mean, they opened during COVID,